thought it'd be a good opportunity to share with everybody that watches the videos how simple it actually is to change these tires out. I'm going to be reusing the same bearing in the other wheel, so I'll be putting the bearing that is in this one, I'll just move it over into this one and put the cap back on. Now, the basic tools I'm going to use is a rubber mallet, a pair of pliers, and a claw hammer, and an adjustable wrench, and a small jack. I just put my jack right up under the front axle. You don't really have to raise it up much, just enough to get the tire up at a comfortable work level. That'll be fine for me. I'm going to try to keep my big hands out from in front of the camera for this video. Now, first thing I do is I take the claw hammer and I set it right in behind the cap. And I just lightly tap on it on each side to get a place for the tool to go under. I like a claw hammer for the simple reason it gets inside the lip and I can just pull it right off. Just give it a little pull there, go 180-degree turn, give it the same amount of pull, and keep working it out that little bit at a time, because it will have a tendency to wobble and lock itself in the hole that it's coming out of, because you're pulling a plug out of a cylinder. And I'm not pulling very hard because I don't want to crush the cap or knock any more of this old yellow paint off. This rim's going to get sanded and painted, and I'll decide whether I'm going to keep it or sell it on eBay. Cap's off. Take your pliers, compress the Carter key back flat, pull it out, set your adjustable wrench to fit the nut on the spindle, and it should not be extremely tight. Keep a board, towel, something laying around so that I don't lose the little tiny parts. I put them there on the board. Take the back bearing out. You can use the handle of the adjustable wrench and just slightly tap it, because you want that dust seal intact. And it fell onto the board. Now we'll roll this out of the way. It's 5 degrees this morning. I'm going to be outdoors. I'm going to put the bearing with the dust seal back on, and it'll go down till it hits the race. I'll just put it in just like that. It'll go down till it touches the race in the bottom. Simply slide the wheel back on, put the outer bearing in, replace the nut, I'll use a wrench so I don't get quite as greasy. You'd be forced to back it off or tighten it up a little bit as needed to get the key back in, the cotter pin back in. Give that cotter pin a little spread so that it can't fall out. I like to drop mine in from the top so that it has less likelihood of coming back out. Now I have a cap that I bought off eBay that I just sanded and painted. I'll take this one off and replace it later. But just gently tap on the very edge with your rubber mallet until you've seated. Don't go smashing in the center here. You'll cup it in. Somebody's already got a little rough with this one. I'm going to have to take a ball peen hammer and turn it upside down and shape it back up with a ball peen hammer on the anvil. Now, you repeat that on the other tire, other wheel. And it's that simple. Now the last thing I will do is back off the nut, and I will adjust the stop on the steering so that whenever I'm making a right-hand turn, the tire will not hit the drive mule pulley. I turn the lock nut out, and then I turn in the stop bolt, and I keep turning the steering wheel until I get a clearance that I like. I like to have a little more space between the tire and the pulley than is recommended in the John Deere manual, because whenever you're on an uneven yard, there is some pivot from the axle going up and down, and it can have a little more or a little less. I always like to give it just a little bit extra so that I have a safety buffer. I'd like to thank you for viewing my YouTube videos. Ask you guys to click on those Google ads, like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, and if you choose to do so, leave me a comment. Please keep them G-rated. Me and my little boy both love to sit down and read them every day when he comes home from school.